All right, so Jim, are you turning it over to me then?
Yes, Karen, sorry.
Okay, let's do this. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, colleagues. It is great to see so many of you again for our sessions today. I know some of you have been with us since Friday, so wonderful to get to know you. I'm Karen Newman from the University of Indianapolis in Indiana, and I am a longtime member of TESOL and my affiliate, Indiana TESOL, for over 20 years now. And I'm also a member of the Affiliate Network Professional Council this year. Our next session is going to be a really, really wonderful session. Jim has already given us a little bit of an introduction. It's called the TESOL Affiliates Resilience During the Pandemic session. And we've got affiliates representing count them, 4 continents. We're going to hear from Nile TESOL, Italy TESOL, Mex TESOL, Georgia TESOL, and Uruguay TESOL. The next session will go until noon, but with Egypt in the news last week, I have to ask Nile TESOL, did anyone attend the procession of the pharaohs last Saturday? Any of our friends from Nile TESOL get a chance to attend that? No? Oh, this was a world event. I tried to live stream it because who doesn't like mummies? I was really hoping to be able to see the mummy caravan go through Cairo and make its way to its new home. So I sure hope someday to be able to come to Egypt, visit our colleagues at Nile TESOL, and also visit the incredible new museum that's just opening. Well, without further ado, let me tell you a little bit more about the next session. We know that teacher associations around the world were hit incredibly hard last year when the pandemic struck. Some, like many of us here today, swiftly transitioned all of their events online to ensure that members had resources available to start their teaching online. And many TESOL affiliates like you organized professional development opportunities and other types of events to keep members together. The ANPC supported the affiliate network and teacher associations in general by providing a number of PD opportunities that we heard about yesterday. And this colloquium will build on the previous presentation that was offered at the TESOL Convention 2 weeks ago. So as usual, if you're just joining, if you have any questions that arise, feel free to type them into the chat box. But what I'm going to do is turn things over to George, who's going to moderate the session for the next hour. So George, over to you.
Hey, thanks, Karen, and thanks everyone for attending and being here. Since early, it's 6 p.m. here, I think. So I feel kind of privileged today that I don't have to be up at the crack of dawn, but you know, we'll make it. All right, so as Karen said, Jim and I moderated the colloquium at the TESOL Convention 2 weeks ago, and we got some really good insights. So we would like to extend that and then maybe ask more affiliate leaders and more associations of how did the pandemic affect them. So for that, I will ask again the panelists to just raise their hands so we can spotlight them, so we can all see them together. So I see Jorge Maria and Jennifer, right? Nile TESOL and Uruguay, are they here?
They were here, and I see that the Uruguay TESOL has dropped out for a moment, so I think they must be experiencing some technical difficulties.
All right, so let's spotlight everyone. So now you can put your hands down because you're spotlighted. All right, that's great. Now, all right, so it's the 4 of us. So welcome everyone. I'm gonna share my screen and I'm gonna show you the questions, which we have already shared with you, and then we'll take it from there. So, all right, so here are our questions, and we'll start with question number 1. So what innovations have you developed to deal with being online during this past year? And let's start with Jennifer.
Okay, great. Well, I happened to be the conference chair for Georgia TESOL when the pandemic hit. So, of course, dealing with having a virtual event and making sure that we had not only seamless just sessions and keynote speakers, but that there was a conference feel, that social aspect of the conference. And so we had our conference in October, and then I was elected president. And so I took some of those strategies and used them to continue collaborating with our board, with our leaders, and with our membership. So at the conference, we used Padlet as a sort of digital swag bag so that attendees had something to take away with them. And when we attended the TESOL Convention a couple of weeks ago, we used Padlet again because our entire board attended. So we used it sort of as an asynchronous group text sort of thing so that we could share ideas and collaborate on what we could bring back to Georgia. And so Padlet's been really useful for us. We also use Padlet as a resource share during the height of the pandemic when teachers were trying to learn what to do. And I knew when I decided a few years ago that I wanted to take on the task of president of Georgia TESOL that I wanted to start with a retreat. And of course, I became president during a pandemic, so we did a virtual retreat with Zoom, and I was able to use the breakout rooms for a couple of things. We used the breakout rooms for mentoring the person who's taking on your role, and we used the breakout rooms to break off sections of the organization for needs assessment and then come back together. So just using the core things that I would even use in the classroom to help us just stay in communication. That's what we've done here in Georgia.
Great, thank you. So I think it's the first time that I hear Padlet was used that way. So I think that's very innovative and very good. Taking notes. Maria, would you like to go next?
Yes, of course. Well, I was TESOL Italy president when the COVID-19 pandemic spread, and the consequent restriction made us think about how we could continue to promote professional development opportunity to our members. So we did our best in the emergency, reacting with speed and many innovative ideas and tools to unprecedented challenges. Some of those actions necessarily were stopgap measures in first place, but others, particularly with regard to the use of new information and communication technologies, what in teaching and research communication have meant a big push forward, and much for that is yet to stay and to stay in the future. So imagining the future was what we all of us at TESOL Italy were trying to do daily in our professional life. But one of the major innovations I can think of is the different approach in allocating organizations' energy, time, and resources as well. So we started considering innovation as a part of our strategy, and we started considering all the life of the association in a three-box solution. You don't selectively forget the past, because all those practices that fuel the current activities could fail the new ones, then create the future and manage the present. So having this in mind, last year we faced the great challenge of delivering the National Convention that was for the first time online. And we had 2 days event with 60 sessions, both in live streaming and pre-recorded, 5 plenary speakers, and a virtual expo as well for publisher, where members could virtually visit the booths or chat or video chats with them. But as our intention was also to spotlight some of the useful innovation that have come out of this online event and reactivate also the support for its continuity, because we think that it is important, we decided to leave the session available for TESOL Italy members for 2 months after the event. And then each month after the event, we made a selection of recorded sessions available in the reserved hours on our website.
Great, thank you. Jorge, would you like to go next?
Sure, thank you. Well, I'd say that the innovation in our context is more related to the organization of the events. See, TESOL does not have any special interest groups, but we have local chapters. We have local chapters in more than 14 states in Mexico. So they usually organize their own events, local events. And when we went online, they had the opportunity to get together and organize these events, like several chapters at the same time. So it was a great success because they reached international audience. And in the past, 2 or 3 chapters wanted to work together, but it was difficult because it was face-to-face, and the members of the chapters had to travel to the venue of the event. But in this case, going online, they were able to organize these excellent events that, as I told you, they reach an audience of 700 attendees, which is a great success for any local chapter. They usually have events with 100 people or even 50 people, 20 people sometimes. But going online, they reach these 700 people, which is a lot, even international audience, as I told you, teachers from Argentina and from Philippines. So it was great to go online for the local chapters, and they are growing.
Excellent. Thank you, Jorge. Marianela, would you like to go next?
Yes, perfect. Hello, everybody. I'm representing here TESOL from Uruguay. I am the current corresponding secretary. Well, last year we had planned our biannual convention, and we were forced to cancel. We didn't have the means or the time to organize everything virtually, because actually it was planned for May, June, and it was when we were all forced to go on a lockdown here in Uruguay. Our board members have fully time jobs, and so they were also handling the virtual environment and trying to adapt to this new situation with students and with the demands of schools and the demands of other teachers and parents as well. So it was kind of a chaotic moment to organize an event and a virtual event that we had no experience with before. So but we knew we had to be there for our members and find a way to support them so we prepared monthly events that were free for our members. There were webinars, and we tried to find webinars that dealt around the topic that was like those hot topics at the moment for everybody, like tips for virtual classes, differentiation in virtual classes, collaboration in virtual classes. So all those topics that teachers were actually needing some help to deal with. The majority of teachers here in Uruguay had never had virtual classes before. So this was like the first time. They had almost no time to prepare for that. In some cases, they were given a week, to adapt their content of the face-to-face class to the virtual class, and that's it. And some not even a week, actually 3 days, because in private schools, the situation was a little more demanding, and parents were demanding, okay, we need an answer and we need to know what our kids will be offered. So we prepared these monthly events, and we received a positive feedback about them. What was great, and I think it's something that we are going to keep, is to have the possibility to offer virtual events, because we had, they were mentioning before, audiences from other countries but also people from Uruguay that sometimes they have to travel always to our capital city for the events generally. And in this way, they were able to attend from home, and they were very thankful for that. They asked for that, no, like, please try to keep this kind of events.
Thank you, Marianela.
Yes, no, they want to see everybody, but they want to keep it. So I think it's something that we will stay. And just another little thing that we did for our members is every now and then we would put in our social networks some kind of message to provide hope. Okay, like some tips or message, and they really were thankful for that, because sometimes we forget about the well-being of teachers. No, and that was.
I will have some opportunity to talk about that in some further questions. So for the interest of time, if I could just ask panelists to keep it to 2 minutes, so everybody has a chance and go through all the questions. All right. So now let's go back to Maria. And Maria, how have you promoted resilience amongst your membership?
Okay. Well, resilience is the ability to adapt well to unexpected changes. But not all people knows that resilience is a skill, and like any other skills, can be learned with practice. So the first thing that we did was to build connections in order to build resilience among our members. We start to prioritize relationship connected with empathy and understanding, because you can remind members in this way that they are not alone in the midst of difficulties. And focusing on finding trustworthy and compassionate individuals who validate your feelings will support the skill of resilience. Then we also try to facilitate group sessions, and we have 11 local groups all over Italy, sorry, and we reinforced the activity of the local groups so that people could find that being active in a community provides social support and can help you reclaim hope. Moreover, we thought that training for a team helps the team members to develop a group understanding, and it promotes the cohesion in a team and a positive team coordination. We can say also that a culture of resilience includes the team members being encouraged to talk, to speak up, and ask questions, and openly also share news, even if they are bad news, and report potential problems if there are any, and so they can find a support.
Great, thank you. Jorge, can we hear from you?
Yes, thank you. Well, as Maria mentioned, we wanted to let our members know that they are not alone. So we were constantly sending, posting on our social media, like the recommendations from the health office in Mexico, like washing your hands and wearing your mask. But also we post, motivational quotes and images, telling them that we will soon be together again, that they should take care of each other, take care of their families, and things like that. And in our online events, I mean, the ones organized in the local chapters, we did more or less the same. We just invited them to keep healthy, to be healthy, and to be patient and wait. So because we will be together soon. We are planning to have a face-to-face convention in November. We hope everything goes okay, and we are just inviting our members and giving them motivation to be together again.
Great. Jennifer?
Sure. With Georgia TESOL, last year in this, we did a series of town hall events where we talk about what we're going through and really hear from people, give our attendees and our members the floor, and then try to react, hear what they need, and try to be reactive to that. But really, I echo what Rosella was saying earlier. It's so important to just acknowledge, even when you're having an event, when you're opening an event, or at the beginning of your newsletter, or any of that, just acknowledging the difficult time means so much to the teachers and students and researchers who are facing this pandemic. In fall, our 2020 journal publication was on the changes and innovation and instructional strategies that we all faced during the pandemic. And so if you haven't read that Georgia TESOL in Action Journal edition from fall 2020, I encourage you to. It's open access, anyone can read it, but I could swim in it. It's just beautiful and vulnerable.
Jennifer, I think I really like the town hall ideas, and I also really like that we're particular to different kinds of teachers, because yes, sometimes, different groups have different needs, and when you put everybody together, it doesn't resonate with them, because maybe you have like kindergarten teachers or like middle school teachers and then university teachers, so their needs are really different. So I think Georgia TESOL's idea of having like separate town halls, I found the word, it was really, really good. Marianella, what about you? Or yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sorry that I was answering like this question a little
That's
bit
okay,
before.
no problem.
So yes, I talked about those positive messages in the social networks that we have. We also organized, apart from the webinars that, were more like academic or dealing with topics that were more related to class management in the virtual environment, we also organized some events that were more trying to promote this kind of support community. For example, we organized a breakfast, virtual breakfast, of course, and where that work like a round table dealing on the topics like their concerns and sharing some ideas and how they have faced this new virtual environment, and that was very effective too. And for example, now we are having also conversation clubs, so for teachers, so they can discuss different topics and also relax a little bit and find a place where they find people in the same situation. But okay, let's not talk a little bit about teaching now, and let's move to other things too.
Great, thank you. Now, Marianella, I would like to continue with you and ask all the panelists, of course, how has the pandemic affected your members? And when we say affect in any possible way, like even attendance or their practical life or their relationship with the association, did you have more engagement? Did you have less engagement? What were those changes that happened because of this? Because we have seen lots and different kinds of models where associations either thrived, some associations took a break and then thrived, or some associations just, they kept the heartbeat. So what was the case for your affiliate?
Well, in our case, that was at the beginning where we're really concerned, like how would this affect us, and like probably maybe we would have many members dropping out. Okay, but fortunately they were there to support the organization, and because I think we were able to reach out and connect with them, and we generated like a community, and they know that we are there for them. They can even sometimes send emails to us asking about different things they would need, and we would answer. I think we were able to get more members even despite all this situation, because people were looking for a place, for solutions, for support, where they could find support, where they could find people in the same situation. Remember, I told you before, some people had no experience with this, and also we are thinking about how this affects your job and how you have to deal with that. We had a lot of teachers were also laid off. So we were trying to offer support in different ways, and I think people found a place where they could find this support. So it affected in many ways our members, but we will still be, we were able to keep our members. And I think they also, we created a stronger bond with them, thanks to all this situation. No? So it's a positive aspect from this pandemic.
Great, thank you. Yeah, we have seen different models, and especially this is something that we don't usually talk about. So we don't usually talk about the people who lost jobs because of the pandemic, and it's a very, very important aspect. And I think it is our duty as teacher association not only provide professional development, but also provide, you know, this kind of comfort and some sort of support, like the support groups we've seen elsewhere. Jennifer, would you like to share your experience?
Absolutely, and I'll pick up there. We've definitely seen loss of jobs, and in our adult education programs, especially the community-based programs, many of them are still closed. They've just remained closed for an extended amount of time with no option for doing virtual instruction. So those adult learners and those community learners and those educators, they've just been, you know, lost without that. Our IEP programs have been left with dwindling student populations, and so those programs are at risk. But here in Georgia, we've also had, as a result of the pandemic, tragically, we've lost several educators to COVID-19. We've had increase in discrimination and violence against our AAPI community. And of course, what everyone's experiencing, that loss of learning time and social emotional concerns, so many areas where people need support. And we do see that they're reaching out. Many, even subcategories of TESOL that we were weaker in. Georgia TESOL happens to be really heavy in K-12, but now we're seeing many higher education people come back for this community. And so that's been a blessing.
Yeah, I think that's a blessing in disguise, all this situation, you know, the shifts. And it's actually really important to see what motivate, you know, those teachers to come and what actually keeps people who might now be unemployed to be part of that community, because this is, you know, one of our support systems. And I think that's really, really important to tell. Maria, would you like to pick up on that? You're mute, Maria.
Okay, can you hear me?
Sure, thanks.
In this crisis, our members, our teacher, have shown, as they often have done, great leadership and innovation, ensuring that learning never stops. I think that they always have it in mind, and that no learners is left behind. So most of the time they have worked individually and collectively to find solutions and create new learning environments for students in order to allow education to continue, because at first it was the most important thing. Let students understand they're not left alone and education is go on. Their role advising in school reopening plans and supporting students also with the return to school is just as important. In a time of crisis, teachers should be equipped with digital and pedagogical skills to teach remotely online. And some of them didn't have the necessary experience in it. So we, as association, try to offer them some support also in this way. So that there were obviously problems also with low or no tech environment for some of them. So not all of them were able to cope with new technologies, but most of them were.
Great, thank you, Maria. Jorge?
Yes, well, I would say similar to what Marianela said, that here in our country, some, or I may say many of our colleagues lost their jobs, and some others went from full-time to part-time. Now they are, spending more money on internet connection services, and also some of them, or many of them, have need to buy more devices, newer devices, because the old computers or the old laptops we had are obsolete now. So we need more equipment, more devices, better devices to have all these programs or all the platforms on in the laptops. So it's been quite stressful. I can tell you about my personal situation. I was one of those people who lost their jobs, but thanks to colleagues, members of the association, I was able to find another one. So I just contacted my friends and telling them, you know what, I lost my job, and they were very supportive. And thanks to one of them, I got a new job online, because everyone is online right now, but we're still working. So it was part of it.
Yeah, I think that actually shows how resilient our communities are, and I think that you get a lot of opportunities. I think, back in time, I think this is where I got my first job as an English teacher through TESOL Greece, because of the connections I made there. And I've seen lots of new teachers or teachers that maybe have lost their jobs, that they find jobs through the events or some job openings that are come up because of those events. Right, moving along to the next question. How have you and your organization stayed connected to support like TESOL? Let's start with Marianela.
Okay, well, what we have done, also, and to support in a way our affiliates and TESOL, was also promoting their events. Okay, we also, in some cases, did participated in events of other affiliates, but we were also trying to promote their events in our social networks and our through our mail, because we saw that everybody was in the same situation and needing this kind of help everywhere, right? So we did that, and in a way also this gave an opportunity for our affiliates to connect with affiliates and members from other countries, and this also gave birth to opportunities like presenting at events of other affiliates. So I think it gave us this possibility to create a very enriching community.
Yeah, I think there were lots of opportunities that I'm not quite certain that they would happen if, there was not the situation. I remember one day I was in 3 different countries presenting in 3 different continents. So that would be totally impossible to happen without, the situation we're in. Maria, would you like to answer that question for Italy, TESOL, Italy, sorry.
Yes, of course. So as you said, one of the advantages of being online is that it allows members to attend session from any location of the choice, and there are no restriction, no geographical boundaries for that. We made some webinars which were free for our members. And one of the most important action that we have taken during this period was a project, a LICS project, that is language improvement courses, with an insight into American culture and society in particular, thanks to a grant that we applied with the American Embassy in Rome. Because of the grant we received, we were able to have 9 online courses. At the beginning, they were planned to be face-to-face, but later on we turned it into online courses. And we had a total 200 participants all over Italy, thanks also to our local groups, which obviously worked in order to recruit participants. And thanks to this project, TESOL Italy could provide a good opportunity of professional development in these unprecedented times, and helping teachers think positively about the future, and also motivating them to refresh and deepen their language skills. We are still delivering 3 webinars, 3 seminars taken by experts, which are part of this project. And we have already had one by Alessandro Portelli, and the next one is next week by Lucilla Lopriore, one of our members.
Great, and I think, yeah, go on, sorry, Maria.
Yes, and the last one will be by Marina Morbiducci, one of the past presidents, Italy past president.
Thank you. Thank you for those ideas. I mean, those are really great examples. I just wanted to mention that Gracia shared in the chat box that the United States Embassy and the RELOs have played a key role in supporting English language teachers with different grants, with different sponsorships. I mean, the State Department also supporting thousands of teachers to come to the TESOL Convention. So I think we're extremely thankful to them. Jorge, would you like to go next?
Yes. Well, before the pandemic, the national board used to have like 2 or 3 face-to-face meetings. And of course, on those meetings, we discuss and debate ideas on how to serve better our members. Now, with the pandemic, we have meetings almost every month. We can say that we can have more than 10 meetings per year. But in these meetings, I mean, we have, as I told you, ideas and things like that. So we have come up with some special discounts, let's say, for our members. For example, now members of Next TESOL can have a special discount when they take proficiency tests. And this is a test, well, many of them need it because the Ministry of Education here in Mexico demands teachers to have this proficiency level. And we are offering this to all of our members with a special cost for them. So it's lower and it's a great advantage for them. Yeah. Another one is what you mentioned, George, RELO has been great help. And we also sent like more than 30 teachers to the TESOL International Convention last month, thanks to a grant by RELO, the American Embassy here in Mexico. We work together with them. So we distribute all these grants to different teachers in different states here in Mexico. It was great.
Great, thank you. And Jennifer?
30 teachers, that's incredible. Here in Georgia, we picked up our newsletter again. It had fallen to the side. We set a theme of embracing community and empowering voices, and we feel that that newsletter is a huge part of building community. So we're glad to let our members have a voice through that newsletter. But we've also been really active in advocacy, and it's really been 2/3 of our advocacy work would not have even been needed without the pandemic. And so we've given teachers a voice in a place where they wouldn't normally have a voice. We've given students a voice in a place where they don't normally have a voice. And we're seeing people come to our community because they're grateful for that voice. So we're speaking out on behalf of our current members, but other people are joining us because they see that we are standing up for them. So yeah, advocacy has been a big part of how we've stayed connected.
Right, and I'll take that opportunity to also promote the TESOL Advocacy Summit that's going to happen in June. So, and if you haven't registered, please do. And TESOL has been very generous, and they offer a special price for one affiliate leader, somebody you're going to suggest. All right, moving along to question number 5. What is the single biggest positive about being online during last year? And let's start with Jorge.
Well, this is the one I chose. I guess we had a lot of trouble when we decided to go online because we didn't know anything about that. We had planned for the face-to-face convention, and then all of a sudden we have to change everything. And I guess we made the decision a little bit late. So we had short time to do that. But as I told you, we are really happy that we could bring together more than 1,000 attendees. It's more than we expected. And it was a great success. And thanks to RELO again, we had presenters from Nile TESOL in our convention. And now we are very close friends with Nile TESOL. And also we got, for the first time in 50 years, almost 50 years, an international recognition the TESOL Convention was recognized with the Platinum Eve, which is the Equal Voices in ELT. Maybe you have heard about that. So we got that recognition back in October. It was great for us. So the recognition and also a lot of attendees for the first time, despite all the mess we had before the convention, because we didn't know that much about that, but it was great.
I think you hike convention, Jorge, if I remember well, right? Very high-tech avatar style, very futuristic, kind of the first futuristic of the affiliates that I had experienced. Great. Let's go to Marianela now.
Well, okay, like I have mentioned before, and we have been mentioning this, one really positive thing was the possibility to have people coming from different places and attending our events. And this has made our community really more enriching and stronger. Okay, to have like a variety of attendees and the connection they create between each other and what they can share. A lot of people sometimes in the past weren't even from Uruguay. I'm not even talking from other countries, no, like to attend a EuroTESOL event. But from Uruguay, sometimes it can be okay, not easy to come to Montevideo. They have to pay a bus ticket or something, and well, sometimes our budgets are very limited, and people wouldn't attend, or they would attend just one the whole year, and now they can attend all they want from home. We have made them free for members, and that's also another way that has made us increase the number of members, but because they decide, okay, I become a member and then I have access to all of our events. But like opening up for more people and being able to receive more members and colleagues from other countries, I think that has been a very positive aspect of all this.
Great. Jennifer?
Well, the number one benefit is, of course, the safety of all of our members and board members just being online. But I have to say, safety aside, the financial benefit to not having to find a venue for the conference, food for the conference, venues for our board meetings. We don't have a centrally located office. So even travel expenses, all of that has been easier. I've missed connecting face to face. Let me say that. But we ended up having 700 people at our conference, and we were expecting around 3 or 4. So that was huge. It was a huge blessing, and it was a huge financial blessing. And it let us start off this year on good, solid footing, and we were grateful for that.
I think I agree. It has been, and if you watched the video earlier from TESOL and Susan Gar, I think she said that they were finally able to pay off all their previous, debt from all of the previous years, and they doubled actually their membership. And the same goes for Nice TESOL. They also doubled their membership, and lots of other affiliates around the world. Maria, would you like to tell us the biggest positive element of being online last year?
Yes, as Marianela said, communication was an important aspect, and social collaboration, I can say, because online community accommodate more people, leading to jump in innovation that meeting in person could never hope to match. But saving cost is another important aspect and a big positive aspect. There were no cost transport cost, no cost for the place where we can take also and have our meetings. And first of all, there was also more visibility for the association, because we work more through the social media, and so we can reach more people in this way.
Great, thank you, Maria. I think those are all great ideas, and with everything that's happened, I think we try to see the positive element of that, and I think you highlighted those ideas. Now, moving on to the last question, which is not going to be the last question because you were good timekeepers, so I'm going to ask you a bonus question. So what meaning or takeaway from the pandemic will you bring with you into 2021 or 2022? And let's start with Jennifer.
So I heard someone say in one of our town hall gatherings, it's amazing what you can learn when you have to. And that's maybe my theme for this past year. But we really have at Georgia TESOL learned so much about not just virtual event planning, but also just connecting via social media and that kind of thing. And I think we're going to be stronger in that even after the pandemic is over.
Great. Thank you, Jennifer. Marianella? Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, I think my internet was a little bit sketchy.
Because there was a little
Sorry.
problem with connectivity. Okay, well, I think that something positive is all the benefits of having virtual events that we didn't know in the past. So I think they are something that are going to stay, but maybe in a hybrid way. So we can also have the face-to-face connection with our members and with other colleagues, because I think that is something that we really miss and we need to. So maybe a combination of these two formats will definitely be something that we could use and profit from. Another thing that I had not mentioned before, we also try to give a place in our events for our sponsors, or a place where they could show, I'm thinking about publishers especially, so in a way to support them as well. When we had the on-ground or face-to-face events, they had their stands. Okay, so virtually we tried to keep in touch with them and give them a space where they could show their products, offer their products, or even through our social media. So we can also support them in this situation.
Yeah, I think publishers or sponsors have been in the spotlight during the affiliate events all these 3 days, as well as the hybrid model, because this has also been discussed in the roundtables during the convention. So I think those are two very, very important elements that we need to be talking about the rest of the year, and then when, gradually going back. And hybrid is a very, how can I say, catchy word these days. I think that we need to explore what is hybrid, how does it work, and most importantly, how much does it cost? So this is something that we need to consider, because we're all like, yes, we're going to have some part online, we're going to have some part face-to-face, but how can the technology help? And do we have the means and the know-how? Because we're saying that hybrid is fine, but do we really have the know-how, and do we need to get trained? Because if you ask me, a year ago, I had one Zoom call in my life, one Zoom meeting while I was driving, and that's it. And now I think I'm, I don't have a PhD yet, but I think I have a PhD in Zoom. So it's a completely different kind of, dynamics. Maria, would you like to go next?
Okay. Yes, I can say that the great takeaway is that communication has changed, and the real world communication has changed for good. Changes have been inevitable and long-lasting, depending on our personal situation and the sector we work in, and the policies being put in place by the state we live in as well. But what we learned with this great change was to be empathetic. So I think that preserving empathy is very important to become more tolerant. Also, if we think, for example, with the first webinar before pandemic that we had, we were not so tolerant with background noises, for example. And nowadays, instead, we are more tolerant. We can also accept babies crying, asking for Nutella or something like that, or some phone ringing. What's more, the social distancing provides time for reflection and introspection. And I think it is another important aspect to this change, this innovation. And people can be self-sufficient when it's necessary. So what you have to do is just a thought for the future, is to imagine the norm after COVID from an abnormal perspective. That's what we have to do for the future.
Great ideas. Thank you, Maria. And last but not least, Jorge.
Thank you. Well, last convention, we came up with the idea of having a teachers association as a special guest for our convention, and it was TESOL, as I told you. So I guess that's something we're going to continue. We want to have another teachers association to be our special guest for the convention. Last year we had 3 speakers from TESOL. I'm sure you know some of them. Gada and Tamir were 2 of them. I don't remember the other one. And then also something we are going to continue doing is this. We haven't participated in the NAPC events for a long time, so we are back. And finally, I guess we are going to try and research on hybrid mode. I don't know, as you said, Jorge, we don't know yet how this works, but we are going to research into that, because I'm sure we're going to continue having online conferences and workshops. And I mean, it's here to stay. Online is here to stay. I guess we are going to have our normal face-to-face thing, but also online every now and then.
I totally agree. I think that online is here to stay. Maybe it's not going to be so prevalent or so many events in the future, like maybe, like every month or so. But I think the online component, and that's actually, advocacy for our teachers, inclusivity, people that live far away, people that don't have the means to participate in our conferences, in our monthly events. We open the door for them by just putting a camera. I remember back in the day, 3-4 years ago, I was thinking about, when we're doing the affiliate events at the TESOL Convention, just to start a Facebook Live, and that was, we had been discussing, and had that pandemic come, I think we wouldn't even be having this forum that started, last July, which I think from half a day, we moved on to 3 days. And I think that's a great shift. And I'm really thankful for everybody coming here. So I have a quick question that I'm going to ask, which is very, very easy. And then I have my bonus question. So the quick question is, which platform are you using? Which platform are you using to communicate with to do your webinars or sessions? Which platform are you using, just to let our, and you can go ahead, Jennifer, Maria, just unmute and let us know.
Okay, I think you said my name. It was a little glitchy there, but we are using for our events, we used Huva with Zoom. We did that last year, and then Dr. Woods Washington is planning to do that again this year with the Southeastern TESOL Conference. It was very successful, with the exception of the exhibitor hall. When we're doing, they're making improvements with the exhibitor hall from what I hear, so that's good. And it's just difficult to have a really good virtual exhibitor hall experience, but we were a little disappointed with that last year. With our regular meetings, we're using Zoom.
Great, thank you. Maria, what are you guys using in Italy? TESOL Italy.
Yes, well, for the live streaming session, we used a private channel of our technician. While instead, to get connected, get in touch, the speaker and the moderator, we use Zoom.
Great. Jorge?
Yes, for local events, for the local chapters and general meetings, we have Zoom. But for the convention, we had one that is named Virvela, the one with the avatars. It was a great experience.
Great. And Marinella?
Okay, so we haven't had an event that it's like a convention. So we use Zoom, and we also in some cases use Meet from Google Meet, because we wanted to show also another platform for teachers to use. And generally when we have our events, we show, I don't know, some activities they can implement in class. And so we wanted to show 2 different platforms.
Great. So my bonus question, you can think about it for a whole 30 seconds and your response should be 30 seconds. So if you had the opportunity to go back and change one thing last year that has to do with your teacher association, with your affiliates, what would that be? 30 seconds to think and 30 seconds to respond. You can unmute as the answers come to your mind. I'll put my timer on. 28, 27, 26.
Okay, I can speak to that. We, in December, when things were getting rough, where the pandemic and access English language proficiency testing were about to collide, and teacher safety and student safety was at risk, we finally were pushed over the ledge to jump into advocacy. I wish we had started it before it got to that point.
Great, thank you. Yes, Jorge?
Well, as I said before, we decided to go online a little bit late. So I guess what I will change is that we needed more training before actually going into the convention online. So we needed more training on the use of the platform. As I told you, I mean, I can tell you that I made a lot of mistakes while in there. I didn't know how to move my avatar, so it was difficult. But I guess we needed more training. That's what I would change.
Great. Marianela, you had unmuted. Go ahead.
Yes. So something that I would have changed is maybe start with this kind of more informal events for our members, like having this kind of breakfast together or tea, okay, or these conversation clubs, because I think that they need a place where they can relax and they can share their worries or concerns, but also have a time to interact with their colleagues in a more relaxed environment.
Great. And Maria?
Well, I think we could offer more opportunity than what we offered, because we were caught unprepared. So as I've already said, we started doing our best, but I think that something more has to be done or is possible to do in the future.
I think that's all these ideas are great. What I would say to myself, I think, and this is what I needed maybe, would be to somebody to come and tell me everything is going to be okay. You don't have to worry. It will all be okay. It will play out. And I think wrapping up this session, I think this is what we all proved. And I always make that, I know it's not I shouldn't say that maybe, but I will. I think we are one of the professions that didn't stop for a day. And I will compare ourselves with the medical stuff that were put in a very difficult and awkward situation and stress and all of these things that have happened. And through the ANPC and all the sessions, we have seen different parts of the world react differently, but we all cared for our students, we cared for our fellow teachers, we cared for our neighbors, and so on and so forth. At the beginning, there was somebody said that they were given a week or 3 days. We at my institution, we got a Zoom account overnight. So the Zoom account, landed at 5 a.m. and they said, well, just teach with Zoom now. So, and that's about it. So I want to make certain that all of us feel proud. And I think Deborah Short in her plenary at the TESOL Convention a couple of weeks ago, her amazing plenary that, thanked and appreciated everyone. I mean, you would never think that communities in the US had huge and tremendous problems with internet connectivity or with access. You would think, oh no, those, poor countries that don't have internet connections. No, there were a lot of examples in highly developed countries that did not have the infrastructure. And, have so many expectations from our students. They have a good internet connection, they have a device, they have the space, they have peace and quiet to do their homework, to participate. it's not always the case. And I think all of us have done a tremendous amount of work on advocacy. And this is something that we should all be proud of and thankful. And I think our students have shown, even that they have those, black screens because they don't open their cameras. I think the love and the support we have, given and taken back, I think it's tremendous. I don't think I can, the words are enough. And I'm sure all of you and all of us in this call and our teachers, our fellow teachers, have shown and shown respect and empathy and politeness and awkward moments and cameras opening when we don't want them to open and this and that and the other. So I think we should be proud. We should say that everything did go well, and we're going to be doing more things and better things. And now we have the knowledge, we have the training, we have the expertise, and it's now our job also to educate others, help and support. And new things are coming. Hybrid is coming. I don't know, blended is coming. All of these things are coming. So stay put, stay out there, go research, come and do a session for the ANPC. If you have an idea, if you worked for your affiliate, come and share, because this is what the role of the ANPC is. And I'm sorry, I'm being there for a few years, I really enjoy and I really like the way that this has progressed. And I'm really proud of the ANPC and all the work that they do. Jim, Bessie, Sherilyn, Petro, Jermaine, Lynn. I don't know who I forgotten. VSJ, she's gonna kill me. Valerie, Gabby, Deborah Short, everyone is supporting. So thank you, everyone. Thank you very much for coming here today. Thank you for expressing your views and your support. And I think it's going to be a very, very successful 2022. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you to you.
Thank you, George. That was wonderful. We really appreciate, you